Hello. This video has been an effort. This is day 3 of me trying to film it, but we're here now. I'm going to hopefully give you guys a plant tour of all my plants. I know I've been missing for a long time. I'm hoping to be able to start making some oddball videos every now and again. No promises on timeline. They'll come out when they come out. But I'm excited to share something I'm really passionate about with you guys. And hopefully you guys can share yours with me too. So yeah, grab a cup of tea or coffee or whatever drink is cozy to you. Sit back and enjoy. I think I'm gonna start up here and work my way over. Excuse any clutter. Oh, one more disclaimer. I'm going to be very real with you on this channel about what plants are good, what plants I'm not doing well with, and what plants I'm killing. So some of these are gonna look good, some of these are gonna look awful. But I'm gonna be honest with you about where I'm at with each one. So let's begin. Okay, so we're gonna start with the Syngonium. I'm actually watching this for a friend, and I'm not doing a great job. So she gave it to me about a year ago, and it's alive. I have not killed it. I don't know what kind of Syngonium it is. It's like almost white with dark green margins. And here's a better leaf. It's pretty when it's healthy. But a lot of my plants went downhill when I had a baby this year. So this was unfortunately one of those. And by the way, you might be hearing my kids in the background. I think I might repot it soon just to get a gauge on the root situation and to also give it a soil refresh. So Syngonium, whatever it is. We have some cuttings of a Hoya. That is actually my daughter's, not mine at all. I'll show you the other plant here in a bit. I have no idea what kind of Hoya it is. But when she got it, it was very long and she wanted to hang it in her window, so we had to trim it a little bit. So trying to root some of these. Next to that, we have my Rhaphidophora decursiva. It is doing quite well. I rooted it from a cutting of a plant that was dying on me. This is its newest leaf, very big. No fenestrations yet. And I'm hoping I have one other propagation of a Rhaphidophora decursiva that's in my greenhouse. And I'm hoping to grow them enough to pop together, because that one's significantly smaller than this one, and to have a much more full plant. But for now, this is my biggest one. This is a mixed pot of Tradescantia. Some sort of mostly green leaf with some purple undersides. And then over here you can see my sad little Tradescantia Zebrina. It needs water. I don't love Tradescantia. I do like the Zebrina, so I'm gonna water her after this video and see if she perks back up. Otherwise, I'll be starting some cuttings from that plant. And now we're gonna move on to the lower shelves. Here is one of my newest plants. This is an Epiprimnum amplissimum. The leaves will get much longer than this. It'll bush out a little bit and it'll have, you can kind of see the silveryness on it. It'll get more silvery, I think. From what I understand, it does have a new leaf coming in. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. And so far it's been pretty easy. I haven't had it very long, so I'm very happy with it so far. This one is one of my few cacti. This is a bunny ear cactus. I don't really have a lot to say about this one. Same treatment as most cactus. Water it like once a month. Give it a really thorough soaking once a month. All right, this is a Philodendron Camposportuanum. It's a very new plant to me. I got it because it has kind of the feel of a Philodendron micans, which hopefully will not be as hard as Philodendron micans because they don't have a lot of luck with that plant. But it has, when it matures, it will have a very distinct lobe right here, and then it'll dip in and then come out or point out. I bought this one a few months ago and it came as one really long plant, and so I chopped it and I propagated like 3 or 4 cuttings from that, and so far it's doing really well. Here we have my Scindapsus exotica. I couldn't remember. Scindapsus pictus exotica silver splash, and it's just got a really splashy pattern on the leaves. I really enjoy that a little more than the exotica, but it grows the same, and it's been really easy. It's a very vocal plant. When it is thirsty, its leaves will curl up kind of like a taco, like that. So if you see that starting to happen, you need to water your plant. Here we have a Hoya Chelsea. This is another one I've only had for a few months. It's been a very easy grower. For a Hoya Chelsea, it has a very distinct leaf shape from other Hoyas. It has 3 little indents on either side of the leaf. There's another one that's kind of similar, except it has 4 indents, and it's called the Hoya Crinkle 8, and I don't have that one. I have the Hoya Chelsea. Very easy grower and not a lot to say about it. Same care as any other kind of typical Hoya. Lots of light, water when it's completely dry, and fertilize. I use a liquid fertilizer, a very gentle organic liquid fertilizer, and I'm scaling that back with the winter months coming in, but about every other watering it gets that. It's growing very well. This is a Hoya Macrophylla variegata, which Hoya macrophyllas have very distinct veining, and the variegated version has this variegation on the outer portion of the leaves. This one has been an exceedingly slow grower. I just discovered recently that flat mites are a pest that you can't see with your naked eye that typically afflict Hoya. They can afflict other plants, but typically Hoya. And while you can't see them with your naked eye, you can usually tell they're there by the fact that your Hoyas are growing slower or not at all. So I'm thinking this one might have flat mites. So I'm going to get some horticultural sulfur, mix that in some water, and spray this down and see if that helps and see if it increases its growth. But other than that, it's been a very easy plant. This is a perfect example of how Hoyas grow their leaves. Ooh, it's really sappy. I've heard that's also a sign of flat mites. Anyway, so they throw out these really long stems and then slowly but surely fill in leaves like this. And so they start out really small and they grow bigger and bigger until they harden off, which means they're not floppy anymore. And so if you have a Hoya or you want a Hoya and they throw out these long stems, don't cut them off because they will fill up with leaves eventually, as long as they don't have flat mites. The next plant on the shelf is my string of hearts. This is not my first string of hearts. This is actually my second one, and when I became pregnant with our last little one, plant care kind of went out the window, so I sold it so I wouldn't kill it. And after settling into our new routine, after our little one is now here, I really missed having a string of hearts. So I got this one, and I bought a bunch of plugs and put them in this pot. I think it was four different plugs. And I have the normal string of hearts here, and then I also have variegated here. They were much smaller, but they're actually putting out new growth, which I'm super stoked about. These grow really, really fast if you give it the right conditions, and I can't recommend this one enough. All right, the next few plants on this shelf are the same kind, but one is much older to me than the other, and that is a Hoya obovata. I have had this one for well over a year, and it started out with just that leaf as a one leaf cutting. I don't even know if it really had a node, but I got it as an extra. Someone just gave it to me, and they'd already rooted the leaf, and I kept it thinking maybe it'll do something. I don't know why I kept putting effort into it, because these kinds of Hoyas are not rare. They're very easy to find. I could have just gotten a bigger plant, and I did eventually get a bigger plant, but I kept trying with this one, and I'm really glad I did, because it really paid off. It's been throwing out these really beautiful big leaves, and it's been the easiest, most satisfying Hoya to grow. Here's my bigger Hoya obovata splash. This one's much splashier. This one, it really is one of my favorite Hoyas. Same Hoya care as any other Hoya. Like I said earlier, this one's not super special. Something I do that may be different is I spray just my Hoyas with orchid fertilizer mist. Okay, so here's another Hoya. This is just one of the many examples of how unique Hoyas can be. This is called a Hoya Sunrise. They look like a very plain green plant. It's been a very easy one to grow. But when you sun stress them, they can get this beautiful red color. None of my leaves have that currently, but I'm hoping that as it grows and gets closer to my grow light, that it will get more of that sun stressing. Oh, I watered it before I made a mistake. This is a Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. There is a Crimson Princess and a Crimson Queen. How you can tell them apart is for a queen, the variegation is on the outside of the leaf. For a princess, it's on the inside with the green on the outside. This one is one of my older ones. It's got a bunch of new leaves growing in. It's very big. It has these beautiful white leaves kind of trailing all the way down, but thankfully the whole plant is not that way. If it was, I would need to be concerned. What that basically means is there's no chlorophyll in the leaves, and it can't photosynthesize well and gain nutrients, so it's gonna die if the whole plant were to be white. These are very easy. Same Hoya care, Hoya Crimson Queen. It's a little lackluster because it just finished blooming, and I have not picked all the blooms off yet. But this is one of my older African violets. It has these really beautiful purple blooms whenever it does bloom. And I just potted it up in this bigger pot for it, and it bloomed immediately after I repotted it, so it really needed that. For African violets, make sure you bottom water. Don't top water, because water will burn the leaves. So if you want to maintain these beautiful green fuzzy leaves, do not top water, bottom water. Here is one of my very few succulents. This is a Burrows Tail. Typical succulent care, you water once every 3 to 4 weeks. Very easy. I think I need to water it again. It's kind of getting a little yellow here, but it is putting out some new leaves. These will eventually get very long and trail down, and I'm looking forward to that. Surprise, it's a Hoya! This is a Hoya australis Lisa. It is in a pot that my friend Rachel found. It's very dusty, sorry about that. My friend Rachel found at a thrift store. It is a copper kettle, and she put a drainage hole. This one is a little stunted right now because I chopped it and propped it. It was getting very long, and yeah, I'm hoping to be able to put the propagation back in here. Here's the propagation. It does have roots, but the roots are growing very slowly. I'd like for them to be a little more established before I stick them in the pot. Here is the final plant on that shelf. This is my Anthurium crystallinum. It's a little bit of leaf damage where it got too close to the grow light, but the leaf is as big as my head, and it's got another one coming. The really cool thing about Anthurium is the leaves start out as this itty bitty thing, and they expand until they get to their full size, and they harden off as these huge, massive, beautiful leaves. It's been a very easy Anthurium for me. I only have two, but I've had in the past a few, and I've killed them. I don't have the best track record with them, but this one, and I'll show you the other one that I have been very easy for me. They don't need a lot of humidity, at least for me. As long as you make sure that they don't dry out too much between waterings. These like to stay not wet, but semi-moist. So when you detect that they are starting to actually go dry, go ahead and water. And that's what I've been doing, and they've been very happy with that. Here is one of the sad plants that I was telling you about. This is a propagation of a philodendron pink princess. I bought a philodendron pink princess from Lowe's, and I won't go too much into it because there were a lot of things wrong with that plant, but this is a very rare plant, and the fact that it was at Lowe's, I decided just to go ahead and get it. And I took 2 cuttings. These are rooted. The original plant is actually doing much better since I've worked on it. But yeah, this plant has been a mess. Here is another African violet. This one is a variegated one. It's very pretty. The more light you give it, the more that white will come out. This one has a pale pink flower. It has not bloomed since, it bloomed a year ago when I got it, a year and a half ago. And I haven't been able to get it to bloom yet. This is a cutting off of a much fuller plant that I have, and I'll show you when we get to that shelf. This is probably my favorite African violet, is the variegated form. This is a Hoya carnosa compacta. I found this also at Lowe's for like $5, and these are hard to find. I think this one might also have flat mites because it has not put out any new growth, but it is known for its very crinkly leaves. You have to be careful with these because aphids and pests like to hide in the nooks and crannies. I have a variegated form of one of these. I'll show it to you really quick. And this is my personal favorite of the two. But this one has aphids. I just found them last night, and I treated it last night, and I don't see any more currently, and I'm hoping I got them. I will give it another treatment later, but this one is staying away from my plant shelf. This is my next one, and the first begonia on our tour. I have no idea what this one is. I got this cutting. I took 3 cuttings of this plant, and this is the only one that survived. It is a cane begonia out of my mother-in-law's yard, and she very kindly let me take some cuttings because I thought it was so pretty, but I don't think on top of me taking cuttings from the plant, it adjusting to being indoors, I think it was too much for it. So I lost the other 2, but this one survived, and I'm hoping it will stay that way because its coloring is so pretty. but I don't know anything about it. And here's another succulent. This one is a bear paw, because when they come out, it looks like bear paws. See its little feet. And it's very cute. Typical succulent care, very easy. We have another Hoya. This one, I don't actually know for sure what it is. This is from several cuttings that a friend of mine gave me. I think it's a Hoya carnosa, just plain Hoya carnosa. It's got no variegation. It's got a little bit of some splash to it. It's one of my favorites, and a lot of it is because it did come from a friend, and they very kindly gave me just massive cuttings, which allowed me to get this really lovely full plant. So I'm very, very fond of this. Next shelf, we have a Hoya, I think it's called Burtonay. I don't know, but this one is distinguished by its very soft velvety leaves. It is just kind of a plain green, but it's a very full plant. It grows very full, and it's very easy. I don't know what more you would want than that. I've never had this one bloom for me, although I think I see a couple peduncles. Peduncles are the little nub that the plant forms its flower cluster on. Yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. Next is my Philodendron mayoi. It's got a new leaf coming in. I just love the unique leaf shape on this. It's just stunning. This is actually a cutting off my original plant because when I was watering it, two of the cuttings just fell off. They just fell. I think it was not long after I got it in a shipment, so I think it was already kind of cracked and they were coming off, but I'm not unhappy because I got this beautiful, full, happy plant. We have another Hoya. This is another one leaf cutting. I got this one from Walmart a year and a half ago for $5. It's going on 2 years actually, and it's called Hoya Carrii. I might have already said that. It has been my hope that I could grow it to be a much fuller plant, and I wasn't sure it would ever happen, but we're finally right there above my finger. You can see that little dot. That's a growth point. So I'm getting a vine. This will be a bigger plant in the near distant future. Here's another propagation, a one leaf propagation. This one came with a node, thankfully. This is some sort of philodendron, partly philodendron. I don't know if it's silver stripe, cream splash, whatever it is. You can leave your opinions down in the comments. I would value them. But it's very pretty. Whatever it is, I'm very happy with it. I bought it at the height of when those particular plants were very hard to find. And someone was like, hey, I've got a bunch of cuttings and they're really cheap. Who would like to buy a cutting? I'm like, I do. And it didn't do anything for a long time. And in the midst of my neglect during pregnancy, I was scared that I had killed it. And then after our little one was here and I started being able to take care of the plants better, it started putting out all this growth. So it's gonna be fine, thankfully. And I'm very glad because I really love it. All right, we're gonna start on the next shelf now. We have my Alocasia Frydek. I love this one so much. I bought this for $8 off a clearance rack at one of the plant shops in Charlotte. And this was one of those that I was positive I had killed with my negligence. And I stuck the pot outside because I thought it was dead. And summer came. And all of a sudden there was a growth point in it. And at that point, I didn't know what plant had been in that pot. And I brought it inside and I started nurturing it, and out popped an Alocasia Frydek. And then on top of that, it pupped. So I've got one of the pups over here. I'll show you in a bit. But it's even got another leaf coming in. We're almost to winter and it's still putting out new growth. So this one was just determined to live. And I'm very grateful for that. Oof. This one has seen better days. This is a pup from my aloe plant. It's grown quite a bit. When I put it in this pot, it wasn't this floppy, but with its new growth, it's become very top heavy and I need to rework the soil around it, but it's doing well. Here is my Philodendron melanochrysum. It's its biggest leaf. I bought this one from Ecuagenera, and the roots of this plant were not great. They weren't terrible, but they weren't doing well. So I chopped it and propped it, and when it got enough roots, I put it in here. It's still kind of, you can see it kind of moving around. It's still trying to establish in the pot, so it doesn't look great, but I'm hoping that it will be okay. Here is more of my succulent shelf. It's at the very bottom here. You can't see it very well. This is my Christmas cactus. See, it's got a little bit of sun stressing, which is okay, because it just makes it pretty and pink, and it's not hurting the plant at all because it's not burned. This particular Christmas cactus has these beautiful long peachy blooms. I've had it bloom literally one flower, and that was a couple months ago. I don't know why. So I'm hoping that it will still bloom this coming Christmas. Here's the original aloe. It's not doing great. I don't know why, but I kill aloe. I don't know if I water it too little or too much. It's pretty dry, so it probably needs some water. It's not dead yet. I don't know why it's not dead yet. Here is a succulent that I don't know what it is. It's very pretty. It's in a pot that was my great-grandmother's. It was outside, so it's really dirty. But yeah, it's been easy like any normal succulent. The last plant on that shelf is my variegated jade. This is one of those that is a bit of a rehab. It's doing much better, but I let it go quite a bit when I was pregnant, and it's getting new growth, thankfully. All those itty-bitty leaves are new growth here and just a bit of everywhere. I'm hoping to be able to make this a much bigger plant, and I think it's gonna make it, thankfully. I have another non-variegated jade in my greenhouse. I am gonna take you in my greenhouse, so I'll show you that at the end. Here is my other anthurium. This is a hybrid anthurium. I don't know what it is. I've had it since it was a pup, like had itty bitty leaves smaller than this one. This isn't even an original leaf. I've had this for a couple years now. Might need a repot because it's getting a root through the bottom of the drainage hole. I think it's a Magnificum crystallinum hybrid. It's been super easy. It's one of my easiest plants. And it gets these beautiful, shiny, just stunning leaves. And it's got a new one coming in right there. So I can't wait to see how big that one's gonna get. Yeah, Anthurium Magnificum crystallinum something. All right. Here is one of the ugly plants. And I'm hoping that I can rehab this. I did not do this to this plant. I'll own up to it when I do. Someone sent this to me this way. I bought this plant and it came like this. It came worse than this. This is a rabbit foot fern. I've taken off all the dead leaves, but it does have, you can see little tiny things. It's starting to grow some back. The person did thankfully give me a refund, and they didn't seem to want this back. I don't know why. but I'm hoping to rescue it because I'm not a huge fern person for indoor plants, but I love this one for some reason. Yeah, so I'm hoping to bring it back from the brink of death. All right, here is my original philodendron mayoi. It is very full and happy. It's a little dirty. I need to clean the leaves better. I don't have my usual cleaning solution. Yeah, I've been very happy with this one. It's been very easy. It started to yellow when I first got it, but I think that was just it acclimating because it stopped doing that, and it's been putting out new growth. So, philodendron mayoi. Here is my bigger variegated African violet. It's huge, and I love it. Oh, this one's massive. This is a Hoya Wyattii. I've heard it called two things, variegata and tricolored. And I've had it for a long time now. It's very full and very happy. And same Hoya care as normal. These last two I'm going to show you in tandem because neither of them are much to write home about. This is the philodendron pink princess that I took those cuttings off of. The leaves look so terrible, but it's putting out new growth since I switched out its soil and put drainage in the pot. And then here is the cutting where I cut the Camposportuanum off of, and it's getting a little growth point at the base of the plant, and that should be where it puts out new leaves. Okay, we're done with all the plants on the shelf. I'm gonna move to all the plants that are on the floor because they're too big to fit on the shelf. Then we're gonna move that direction, and I'll cover the rest of the plants that you can't see in the room because this is my office, and my office is not always show ready. And then I will go get the other plants from around the house to show you. My house feels very private to me, so I'm not going to show you my house, but I will show you my greenhouse at the end. So stick around. We're going to finish up. First, I have a random Tradescantia, which I know I said I don't really love them, but this one was so pretty and full. I repotted it because its soil was retaining too much moisture. And this particular one has very fuzzy leaves, very velvety, and the undersides are purple. Like here, you can see them better here. How pretty is that? I really like this one. Here, you're going to start seeing some plants on planks. I put them on planks because in their natural habitat, they would be adhering. You can see those nubs. With those nubs, they would be forming aerial roots to adhere to trees and climbing up those trees. So hopefully with time, they will realize that this wood is here and adhere to the wood. And the leaves will, oh my gosh. It's variegated. Are you kidding me? I have a variegated philodendron Florida ghost. Okay, well, that's new to me. It's a philodendron Florida ghost, and it's supposed to come out with these beautiful white leaves and turn into this beautiful green. The fact that it's variegated is really good. It's beautiful. I don't know if it'll maintain that, but I love it. That's stunning. But yeah, this is my philodendron Florida ghost. My next plant on the plank is my Monstera albo. And I've had it since it was just a one leaf cutting, and it's grown into this beauty. And it's been very easy. I really loved it. There's not a whole lot to say about it. I recommend them. Next is my philodendron verrucosum, another order from Ecuagenera. So I haven't had it very long, and it hasn't done a lot. This is the only whole leaf that it's put out. It's lost two. That one's not doing great. I'm hoping that was just for acclimation and that it starts getting better. So I'll keep you updated. Here we have my Syngonium Chia Pence Frosted Heart. It is one of my favorites. It's just very easy. It's very easy. Yeah, not much to say about it. It's been putting out leaves like crazy, even though it's almost winter, and I'm hoping to get it to adhere to this plank. Moving on to the plants above my little IKEA greenhouse here. I have a cutting, which is rooting quite nicely, of a Syngonium Mojito. So I was buying a plant the other day. It was actually the heart leaf, or the string of hearts here. And I was telling the person I was buying them from how much I loved Syngonium Mojito, and that I used to have one, and I did when I was pregnant, and it died. And there were other people we were talking with. She just disappeared. She left. And I thought she was running the shop. She's gone to attend to business. And she comes back with these cuttings of her own personal Syngonium Mojito and just said, here, I needed to trim mine. And just gave them to me. And here's the lower leaf. I'm thinking with some light, it might bring out some of that variegation. And it was such a sweet gift and really thoughtful. All right, this is one of those that it's not pretty. It's probably not going to be pretty for a long time. It's my Philodendron gloriosum. I wish it was pretty, but I've really struggled with this plant. It keeps wanting, I spray it, it keeps wanting to just get stuck when it rolls out, and it gets all crinkly and it gets tears. This last leaf, this is its latest leaf, it did well, but it's really small, and I can't figure this plant out. So what I would like to do next is it's a crawling plant, which means in its natural habitat it crawls along the ground. So what I need to do is get this in a long pot for it to crawl down. So that's my next goal. Next to that, I have the pup of the Alocasia Frydek. And it doesn't look really good. It is pregnant with another leaf, which you can't really see very well. I'm hoping the next leaf comes out healthier. I think it might have a fungal infection, which I don't really know how to treat. So we'll figure that out, I guess. My last plant on top of the greenhouse cabinet is my Syngonium Batik. The Syngonium Batik has very distinct veining, and this one had, when I bought it, oh, hello lighting. All right, the lighting is different, sorry. When I bought it, I had a lot of trouble figuring out the watering of this plant. What ended up happening was the soil was compacted, so it was retaining too much moisture. So I worked that, and it's been much happier since then. My dog just came in here. Hello. No. Go lay down. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around the rest of the room and the rest of the house and show you those plants. And then I will show you my greenhouse here and my greenhouse outside. This is probably one of my oldest plants. It doesn't look like it because it's very small, but these are pups that I've taken off the original plant that died. This is some sort of Sansevieria. Snake plant is also called. It's very dusty, but it's been very hardy. Next we have a very sad plant. This is my just normal heartleaf philodendron, no variegation, just the green form. This is one of two that I have. This was a propagation that I took off of a Brazil that reverted. This is one of two Scindapsus pictus that I have, just plain small leaf. I don't know if it's a Silverian, it might be. Very easy plant, good and low light. They like to be root bound, so don't up pot this one too much. Let me show you the second one. Of the two, this one's probably my favorite because it's just very cute. Okay, this is one of my older ones. It is very long. It is a Epipremnum Cebu Blue, and it's one of my favorites. I'd love to get this trailing up or climbing up a moss pole. I think that it might be root bound. It's been in this pot for well over a year. And it's starting to lose leaves at the top. So I think it's time, but I don't really want to do it. Here's the last plant on a plank that I have. I have no idea what it is. I know that it's called the shingling plant because it's supposed to attach itself to wood and hard surfaces and look like it's a shingle, like a roof shingle. It's been very easy so far. I haven't had it very long. Here is a very sad Pilea peperomioides. It's alive. It's not dying. I just have not taken very good care of this plant, and I need to. It's in this really cute oddish pot that I need to paint. My husband 3D printed it for me, and I love it for that reason. I just don't know how to take care of a Pilea peperomioides. So if you can give me tips in the comments, I would appreciate it. Here we have, I think it's my last cactus. This is I think it's called a ghost cactus. I really, really love this one. I need to take better care of it. I don't think it's getting enough light, but it's so pretty. It's just so pretty. I got this one from Cactus Club as well in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's very pretty. This one is one of my begonias. I don't know what kind it is. It's very pretty. I saved it from Lowe's because it was dying and they were just gonna let it die, which, you know, I get. It's not selling, so this was another one that in my neglect, I thought it was dead, and I stuck it outside and it came back. So I am giving it a second life, and hopefully I can take care of it the way it needs to now. This is my Monstera Adansonii. It's also called the Swiss cheese plant for obvious reason. This is the second one that I've ever had. The first one died. I keep this one in my bathroom, but I'm thinking of moving it where it will get more light because I'd really love to size up the leaves. Here we have a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. It's not doing poorly, but it's not doing great, and I think I just went too long between waterings. I got this one at Lowe's and made sure it had a drainage hole and put it in airier, chunkier soil. So, I don't know. Hopefully it will start doing better. Here is my Monstera Peru that I also got from Lowe's, and I've been really happy with it. This is the second Monstera Peru I've ever had. The other one died in the midst of my neglect again. But I really missed it because it really, once you got it established, it's a very easy plant, at least in my opinion and my experience. So I'm very happy to have this back in my collection. I actually have a cutting that I got right before I found this plant that I will be potting up soon. It has these very like leathery, thick leaves. It's almost like armor. I don't know, it's really cool. All right, I'm starting to move on to plants that are outside in my home. This is a ZZ plant. It's so dusty. I dust this one all the time, and for some reason it gathers all the dust. I've had this one for a very long time and it didn't do anything, and then all of a sudden, just these past few months, it shot these 3 shoots out, and it's in a pretty low light area. It's not no light, but this is one of those that it will do well in very little light. Water it once a month, and it's gonna be fine. It won't thrive, necessarily. If you give it more light, it will be happier with you. But yeah, this is just the plain green version, and I really, really like this one. It's very sculptural. Here is my next plant, which is just a normal Scindapsus exotica. The variegation is less splashy and has this very clear, defined green down the middle. I lied. There was one more plant on a plank, and that is my Philodendron Florida. I love this plant so much. It's got to be my favorite plant. It's nothing special, but just look at those leaves, man. It's not rare. It's very easy to find, very easy to propagate, very cheap to buy, and the easiest, most satisfying one to grow, in my opinion. Philodendron Florida. All right, here is my Mandula pothos. It is in a pot that was my great-grandmother's. I remember her having just a plain pothos in here, and it was so big. It wrapped around the pot. She had it in the middle of her coffee table, and so this pot is very sentimental to me, and I was very glad I got to use it. And I found this Mandula, and I don't know, it just seemed to fit. All right, I'm gonna go through some of the plants in my bathroom. This is one of those sad ones. This is a Philodendron micans. It is very dry. I need to water it. I cannot keep on top of this one. 1 minute it's too wet, 1 minute it's too dry. And I think I'll always try with this plant because I really love its leaves. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get this one right. The next one is one of my favorites. It is a Spathiphyllum domino, or a variegated peace lily. I've not had this one for very long, but I've had one of these before, and I prefer this one to the normal peace lily just because I really love the variegation. It adds some nice interest, and it's been very easy. Next in my bathroom is this beautiful cane begonia. Has these gorgeous burgundy undersides to its leaves and these really pretty spots. Its blooms are stunning. I love this plant so much. It's losing its blooms up here, but you know, it's had the blooms for months. Yeah, this one is called Begonia Dream Lover. And you can see why. It's just so pretty. I love it so much. I've got one more begonia in my bathroom. Okay, this is the last plant in my bathroom, aside from my very tiny Cebu blue propagation. This is a Begonia maculata. It has these beautiful spots with like this reddish backside. It is my favorite begonia. I've had it for a very long time, and it's just been very satisfying to grow. I've never had it bloom for me. It's a little dry right now, so I need to water it. Begonias do not like to be dry. Yeah, it's been a good plant. Okay, so this is the only part of my home I'm going to show because these are pretty hard to move. This is a Tradescantia of some sort. It's I've heard it called pistachio. I don't know if that's the proper name for it. And then we have a very pretty Hoya here. This is my daughter's Hoya. Again, I don't know what kind it is, but it's very pretty. And this is how long it is after we trimmed it. And we have this here, which was another one that I set outside and it came back. I don't know what it is. I've heard it called Philodendron Hope, Philodendron Celoum. I have no idea. Next to these, over in my corner, I have my pothos. I got this from Lowe's, and it's been a very easy grower. Hey guys, welcome to my greenhouse. Sorry if the video is a little more shaky here. I am holding this by hand. When you walk into the greenhouse, this is what you see. I have my little greenhouse here, my little seat, little potting station there. And to the sides I have pots and things like that, and some various propagations and some pretty sad plants. I have a little Ficus tenaciae, Tanique, I don't know. I've been trying to hang a shade cloth because this greenhouse gets so much sun that it is burning the leaves, and I cannot get it to stay. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Here on this first shelf is a very, very sad, what used to be a golden dragon. And this one, surprisingly, is not my fault. When I bought this one, the node was completely buried. And I didn't realize it until months and months later when I had no new growth and only one leaf. And I took it out of its pot that the node was damaged. So I stuck it out here in hopes that the extra sun, natural sun, would actually help it. And it didn't. So this one was a goner. That one wasn't my fault. This one is a global green pothos, and it is a victim of the sun damage. So it's been pretty burned. I'm gonna move it. Don't worry. I'm gonna try to save it. This one is also a victim of the sun damage, but it also was not in great shape. Prior, it came in with the rabbit foot fern, and I feel like it was a goner. This pot came from my very good friend Rachel. She's a lovely human being, so I'm going to put that there. That side does not get that intense sun. Here is the Rhaphidophora decursiva that I was telling you about. And here is my other micans that is sun-stressed and a little sad. I have some tomato plants that I'm trying to grow here. I have an asparagus fern here. It is doing really well despite all the sunlight. Here is an exceedingly sad exotica. And here are my citrus trees. This is a Myers lemon, and the lemons are finally starting to turn. They've been growing all summer. So, and then I have a succulent little garden there. And over here, I have my lime tree. It does not have any limes. I have my silver sword here. It's actually doing quite well because it is on the side that does not get the intense light. So, a little closer look. It's doing very well. It's putting out some new growth, and it is not singed. All of these leaves are from when I was neglecting it while pregnant, and now it's starting to actually grow. If we come up here, we have, this is an outdoor plant that I just really liked at Vines. I have no idea what it is, but I was hoping to save it for the winter. Here is my propagation of Cuban oregano. It's starting to root. The mother plant is right here, and it's also doing very well. This is another Sansevieria. It's not been doing a lot. It's not doing poorly. It's just doing nothing. I propagated it off of this, and I'm wondering if I just need to chop this off. I have no idea. This is a very sad Hawaiian bush, a snow bush. It's just sad. And these are vessels that I was trying to propagate, my Piper ornatum, and every propagation in here is dead. I think it just got too hot in here. And my last plant down here is my beautiful jade plant. I've not had this very long, even though it is very old. So I think it's actually quite happy out here. It's putting out a ton of new growth. Once I figure out the situation with the shade cloth, I think it's going to be even happier. Alright guys, so this is my little IKEA cabinet. I have attached sphagnum moss to the back to allow my plants to climb up it. I spray it down with a continuous mister every day, trying to find a more efficient way to do that. But, you know, it'll do for now. And I know a lot of people that do this kind of setup have a basin here in the bottom. I would like to do that eventually. It's just not feasible for me to do right now. So for now, I have a seedling mat, a little humidifier, and fans to keep the air moving and so mold doesn't grow. I keep a lot of my non-cane begonias. This is a begonia Deja Thoris. It's very pretty. This is a begonia Black Fancy. I have a Paulownia pulchra that I'm hoping will start to vine up. I have my bigger plant. It is a Piper ornatum. And I have a bunch of cuttings of various plants. My Monstera Adansonii, the Deja Thoris, Black Fancy. I have a node of a Campus Sportuanum, and hiding here, going up behind this, is a Micans cutting. I have a Monstera dubia right there, and it goes all the way up through here. I'd love to figure out a way to get the leaves to actually size up. This is a very tiny philodendron mamii, I think. But when I bought it, it was pretty sad. It came to me and the two leaves that it had broke off. This one hung on, and thankfully I nursed it back to health. The person that I bought it from packaged it really well, just sometimes the mail here can be pretty rough. This particular begonia, I don't know what it is. It was an outdoor begonia and I took a cutting, and it's been very pretty. I enjoy it. Here we have an asparagus fern, and we have some new growth on the Piper coming in. I love the pink on it. I love it so much. Here we have a Begonia maculata cutting, and for some reason in here the red just really pops. Yeah. This is a really big experiment. Hopefully it will take. Yeah, we'll see what happens. That is my complete plant tour. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you made it to the end, kudos. I hope that this was fun for you. I always enjoy looking at other people's plant collections because it gives me ideas of different plants that I might not have known existed, or I might learn something from that person's experience. If you would like to follow me and keep up with different plant content that I'm making, I post on my Instagram. I will post that down below. I also have started streaming on Twitch, so if you would like to watch me there, you are welcome to. I tend to try to stream more calming videos, and sometimes I talk about plants. So give me a follow on there. I will see you guys next time. Bye.